I don't hate you guys. Okay, so the title of this thing is titled How Not to Make a Difference. Alternate title, How to Not Make a Difference. Okay, I have a list. How to not make a difference. Being boring. Trying too hard to be interesting. Arguing on Facebook. YouTube. Complaining. Complimenting. Being mean. Being nice. Being comfortable. Releasing a press statement. We bust out some Newton. There's one thing I know for sure. This is it. This is the only thing that I know for sure. We are not floating through space right now. We are on Earth, and because we're on Earth, that means there's gravity. And because there's gravity, that means there's friction. And because there's friction, momentum is not going to get us very far. On momentum, you're not going to move much else, and you yourself are just going to roll to a stop. There's gravity and there's friction. There is the weight of your own sins, and there's opposing forces. And if you're just going on momentum, it's just a matter of time, you're going to stop. You're not going to make any difference. If you want to change something, momentum is not going to work. You need force. That's Newton's second law. I'm all happy about that. If you want something to accelerate, you have to push. Okay, that was boring. Let me bust out some Aristotle. Aristotle's definition of motion. Yell it out if you know it. Nobody. Riley did this like 15 years ago and it worked. He had you guys, okay, whatever.
The actuality of potentiality.
Actuality of potential as potential. Oh, you'll remember it now, okay. Change is the actuality of potential as potential. That didn't make any sense to Descartes. Hardly any of you have any idea what that means. I'm pretty sure I don't know what it means, but there's a few things that I've learned from it. If you want to make a change, the potentiality has to be there. It's not something that you create. Which means out in the world, in the people that you interact with, you have to see in them what they're capable of. And when you see it, you have to receive it gratefully as a gift from God. It's not something that you provide. It's not something that you give to them. And because change is the actuality of potential, as potential, it means you have to move what's already there if you're going to make a change in them. And if they're human beings that you're trying to move, it means you have to move them willingly. Because they're not machines. Having force doesn't mean forcing on somebody. Their will has to be engaged. And that's exactly where rhetoric, as Professor Peterson would have told you, comes in. It's exactly where story, as a lot of your media professors have been teaching you for years. Media, story, good speeches. Never heard one of myself, but one day I hope you hear one. That's what can touch somebody's heart a little bit, but there's another problem. The problem is stubbornness. This problem is sinfulness. The problem is people are going to get bored, and people are going to resist and not want to hear what you have to say, and are not going to be receptive to the kind of change that you want to effect in their lives. It's going to be the same old story. Okay, let me bust out some Jesus. This is in the reading today in the gospel. And I didn't even know that when I wrote this thing, so lucky me. Likewise, no one pours new wine into old wineskins. Otherwise, the new wine will burst the skins, and it will be spilled, and the skins will be ruined. Rather, new wine must be poured into fresh wineskins. And no one who has been drinking old wine desires new, for he says the old is good. I remember I was a kid, my dad got into his head to make wine. He got a bunch of grapes from one of his friends, and he bought these big, like Rubbermaid cans, brand new clean trash cans, but they were clean. And he put a bunch of grapes and we mashed them or whatever, and then he covered them with the saran wrap or something. And then I remember observing in the days and weeks that passed, as it was fermenting, the plastic covering kind of expanded and it kind of became a balloon over the top. And I think that's just carbon dioxide being released in this process of fermentation. That's what's going on in this parable. You're not the wine. You're the skin that's meant to contain wine. And your options are to be old skin or new skin. I think maybe you're the grape juice, too. You're the thing out of which Christ wants to be born. He wants to come out of the potency that he's given you through his grace. So you're a bag of juice. It's kind of gross. And Christ wants to transform you into himself. He wants to change the grape juice into wine. And what happens in that process is expansion. And if you stay your same old self, I have bad news for you. Jesus is not going to change for you. You're not in charge. Either you become new and stretch as he expands in you, or you're going to rip apart. And you're going to lose him and you're going to lose yourself. So how do you make a difference? Well, you change yourself. How do you change yourself? Well, there's a little hint at the end of the parable. No one who's been drinking old wine desires new, for he says the old is good. If you want to change, stop drinking that old garbage. Because if you keep drinking it, it's going to be fine to you. Stop it. No one who's drinking old wine is going to want anything new. Stop drinking it. Old habits, old sins that you've been carrying around your whole life, stop. Just stop drinking it. It's bad. There's something so much better that Christ wants to offer you. There's something so much better that Christ wants you to become. Stretch. Let your heart expand and let it hurt. It's going to hurt. Stretch. Let him grow. Because either way, it's going to hurt. If you want to stay old, it's going to tear. Your heart's going to tear, and he's going to spill out. No matter what. Father Timon said this earlier in one of his 4 sermons. Either way, you're going to suffer, no matter what. You don't get to choose that. You get to choose whether that suffering is going to be salvific. You get to choose whether you're going to stretch or whether you're going to tear and lose everything. Otherwise, you're just going to stay grape juice. And who likes grape juice? Nobody, that's who. So stop with the old wine, stretch, and in the end, remember, I guess this last thing, your job as a wineskin is to bring that wine to others and to nourish them. And that nourishment that you have to offer when Christ is alive in you and when you've stretched and allowed him to expand you, that is how you can make a difference. See you guys.